which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Katie, will you do roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Blake, please.
Here.
Chairman Bradley.
Here.
Commissioner Howley.
Here.
Commissioner Kine.
Here.
Commissioner Mobley.
Here.
And Vice Chair Sites.
Here. At this time, I'm looking for any questions, comments, additions, or changes, and/or approval of the minutes from September 13th, 2022.
I would like to make a motion for approval of minutes September 13th, 2022.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, I'm going to open up the floor for comments from the public. Members of the public may be heard on any item of interest that is not on the agenda. Speakers addressing the commission will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Please be advised that by law, the commission is not able to deliberate or take action on issues presented during oral comments. And if I might add, Katie, is there the ability to do this online as well?
Yes.
Okay. Is that information going to be put on the screen for people? Okay, thank you. I'll give it a couple minutes.
Can't hear. Have that awkward silence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who had a good weekend? Motion to close public comment.
So,
Do we need a roll call or just, we had a first and a second?
Pardon me?
We had a first and a second.
Who was the second?
Mark.
I think it was between the two of
I think
them.
Mark.
We had a third.
You can do a coin toss.
Mark.
Just pick
They all seconded, so that means we're done.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now we're to our business at hand today. Our first item on the agenda is we have a public hearing to consider approval of a conditional use permit for a detached shop and accessory dwelling unit building height that's exceeding the minimum heights requirement, or limits. The applicant is Went Construction. The assessor's parcel number is 202-092-018. Project site is 5000 Ronerville Road. Zoning is RE20. Liz, you have anything you want to?
Yeah, I will give the brief presentation and then turn it back to you for questions. So yeah, this is a use permit to allow an accessory building height that exceeds the height limits of the RE20 or the zoning code for accessory structures, and an ADU accessory dwelling unit, which exceeds the height limit. And I will note that this is the first ADU project that's come before you, and you did, the city council passed the accessory dwelling unit ordinance about a year ago. So we have processed a couple of ADU permits in that time, which met the basic standards that, avoids a use permit. And so this is the first one that's coming before you, the first discretionary. So that's kind of exciting, I think. And I did include the ADU ordinance in your packet for reference. It's pretty long and kind of a little bit convoluted, but Katie and I, the couple that we've reviewed, and she's given a lot of advice and direction to people at the counter. So she's actually more of the ADU, nuts and bolts expert. But this process was good to, kind of force us to apply the code. So anyway, I will resume. And I'm going to share basically the exhibits that you did receive in your packet, but the site plan and maps and things. Wait a minute here. Should go to the beginning. So the project is located on Gullickson Drive it actually has a Ronerville Road address, which may be amended to Gullickson Drive through the building permit process. It is in building permit review now, and that's what identified the height and the need for the use permit. And so once that building permit is issued, that's normally when the building official will review the addresses and may assign when the driveway does come off of Gullickson. So we want to make sure that the emergency response has the right address. So it is located in the northeast part of the city, between North Loop Road and South Loop Road. Gullickson Drive is mostly an RE20 residential estates with a 20,000 square foot minimum lot size. This parcel is 5 acres, so it has ample room for development. And then this is a close-up of the parcel. You can see where it does have frontage on Gullickson Drive. It also has an easement, a road easement, I think it's down in the middle part here, for emergency access. So that's just something of note that is not affected by the proposed project. But these are the general building locations, the accessory dwelling unit kind of in the rear, and this single-family residence. There is a building permit for the single-family residence as well that are being processed concurrently. And then this is just a parcel map that shows the surrounding parcels of the residential development on Gullickson Drive, and just the general location east of Ronerville Road. This is the zoning map, RE20. There is a B22 overlay that was approved for the Gullickson subdivision, which allowed these parcels in the southeast area to be smaller than the minimum. So the hillside lots along Gullickson Drive are larger, to accommodate the slope, and then there's kind of a plateau up here. So the density for those two areas was kind of switched, and that area is nearly built out. And this is the plot plan that shows Gullickson is on the top of the site, or the top of the map, and then the single-family residence kind of more towards the front or the south side, and then the accessory dwelling unit and the garage/shop kind of in the rear, and you can see the driveway, which would be extended to Gullickson Drive. So the detached shop itself, I'm going to just go to the, did I not put the site plan? Oh, okay, never mind. This is the only site plan. I was thinking that there was a larger one. So you can see that in the rear, the garage shop is on, kind of divided into two. The shop is on the east side of the building, and the accessory dwelling unit is there on the west side. And they both have doors that face that driveway and face the other house. The single-family residence is, we don't have the square footage for that, but actually that's not relevant to the shop and the ADU. But the overall building footprint for this accessory building is 2,487 square feet, with the shop occupying about 2/3 of that, 1,551 square feet, and the ADU at 936 square feet. And then the elevations. These are the elevations for the accessory dwelling unit and the shop. And here in the lower left is the front of the building. This is facing, I showed you facing the other house, and facing the south. Actually, no, that's the lower right. So the shop has two entries. One is the larger roll-up door, and you can see that's the taller part of the building, and then a regular garage door. So the height here is about 20 feet, where the Fortuna Municipal Code requires a maximum of 15 feet for an accessory dwelling unit. So it does exceed the height limit by about 4 feet. And you can see because of the steep slope of the roof, it's really just this upper few feet that is in that area that exceeds. So it's not, you know, I think because of the design of the building with that steep slope, you know, it has less of a massive impact. And it's really just that top portion. They are attached, so the accessory dwelling unit is on the left, and the separation wall is right at the edge of that, you know, where they join, right where that wall is. And so that height is, what is it? 19 feet. So it exceeds the 16-foot height limit by about 3 feet. And then you can see, you know, the rest of the building sides are similar. And it's really just a standard, you know, in terms of impact to the neighborhood. This is, you know, it matches the main residence, which actually is on the next slide. Oh, here we go. I added the dimensions or the height. It's about 20 feet there. Just over 19 feet, and then with the green lines show what the code would require. So here you can really see the peak of the roof projecting up. And then, so this is the primary dwelling unit elevations, and they're very similar. So, you know, there's compatibility in design, and, you know, the height is proportional to the residential development in the area. You know, it's consistent with single-family residences. You saw on the aerial, you know, it's a 5-acre parcel. The nearest house is to the west, and that's approximately 300 feet away. So there's, you know, there's good separation. It's not towering over any neighboring residences. It's a low-density area, so, you know, these parcels, all of the parcels are going to be in the area at least a half an acre, and they've got ample setbacks. I think it's 15 feet on the side, 30 feet in the front, I think 25 in the rear. So, you know, these, that structure is never going to really be a visual impact on any of the, you know, surrounding developments. The required findings for conditional use permit are really compatibility, noise, odor, you know, any kind of emissions or nuisances to the neighborhood, and that won't be the case. Of course, this is single-family residence. If you wanted to discuss or have questions on any of those findings, I'd be happy to discuss those with you. It's really zoning compliance, health and safety, visual impact, and compatibility. So with that, I'll turn it back to the commission and answer any questions you might have, and the applicant is here as well tonight.
Anyone have any questions or comments for Liz?
I think it looks amazing, and the 20 feet does not, like you said, it blends right in with the whole aesthetics. I love it. So that's all I have to say.
Anyone else?
Would I want to make a motion?
Well, I do have a quick question. Liz, you said 20 feet, but I'm looking at our paperwork, and it's written on here 21 feet at the peak. Is that something that needs to be noted for us when we go to do this motion?
No, it measures at 20.5.
Because I'm just looking at this last page, and it says 21. That's why I was
Okay.
looking for clarification.
Ron, do you have the exact height on that? I scaled. We can say, we can round the 20, I scaled at 20 and a half, we can round it up to 21 and keep that.
I've seen the motion,
keep
it
that in the
doesn't really
motion.
matter that it's specific, but I just didn't know if we had to have some clarity on that.
No, I think it would be good to include that in the motion, 21 feet.
Okay. So if anyone's making that motion, please indicate that, yeah, I'm just making a comment up here first. That if anybody's gonna make that motion, make sure you add that 21 feet in there.
Yeah. That would take into account the foundation.
Right. At this time, I'll open it up to public comment or questions. Like I said, we have a crowd, more than one.
All right, motion to close public comment.
Oops.
Wow, a little feedback there. So we have a motion, do we have a second?
I will second.
All right, roll call vote. Commissioner Blakely?
To close public comment?
Oh, sorry.
I
I've
think
got
it's-
somebody asking questions, one of the other applicants right now. Okay, all in favor?
Yeah,
Aye.
aye.
Thank you.
Your turn.
Oh, I would like to make a motion to adopt Resolution P-2022-3094, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Fortuna approving a conditional use permit for a detached shop and accessory dwelling unit building height that exceed the minimum height limits, and that is
Currently at 21 feet,
22 feet,
21.
21.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Commissioner Blakely?
Yes.
Chairman Bradley?
Yes.
Commissioner Hallie?
Yes.
Commissioner Kine?
Yes.
Commissioner Mobley?
Yes.
And Vice Chair Sights?
Yes.
Well, we wish you luck on your project.
There you go.
Yay.
Looking forward to see the finishing touches. I guess we're ready for our next item on the agenda. Item number 2 is a lot line design review of an accessory warehouse for Eel River Brewery, including elevations, colors, lighting, and landscaping. The applicant is Eel River Brewery. The assessor's parcel number is 200-363-058. Project site is 1777 Alomar Way. It is zoned commercial thoroughfare, CT. Liz, you want to bring us up to date?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Bradley and Planning Commissioners. Okay. So this is you have 2 projects before you, and I thought that I would present them together, and then the motions can be considered separately, just for ease.
You want me to
of-
introduce both at the same time then?
Oh, why don't you do that?
Okay.
Thank you.
And then the
Bring
second
that up.
portion to this is a public hearing to consider approval of a conditional use permit for an accessory warehouse for the Eel River Brewery. Again, the applicant is Eel River Brewery, assessor parcel number 200-363-058. Project site is 1777 Alomar Way, and it is zone CT Commercial Thoroughfare. Now I'll turn it back over to you,
Thank
Liz.
you. So, yeah, this is a conditional use permit request for a warehouse facility to serve an existing restaurant and brewery. The purpose of the use permit is, again, it's really to serve the existing business, and the activities that'll take place include packaging and processing, storage, distribution and support of the existing restaurant and brewery. And I will go over the presentation. So it's located on Alomar Way. There's an existing restaurant and the brewery at that location. This is east of the Eel River and west of Highway 101 between 12th Street and Kenmore. This is just the general location. The zoning is freeway commercial, so that is really we call that the Riverwalk area. That's the general plan is Riverwalk District. So this is, the general plan calls this an area of mixed-use development oriented towards the Eel River. Uses may include retail and service establishments, hotels, conference centers, restaurants, entertainment venues, professional offices, and similar compatible uses. And the zoning lists principally permitted uses of that nature, and it also has a conditional use that calls out, allows warehouses that serve the principally permitted use, so in conjunction with the principally permitted use. So this is exactly that, and it is specifically called out as requiring a conditional use permit. And this aerial shows the area to be developed. You can see the existing development with the restaurant the brewery. There's a storage a truck, access area in the back, and parking, public parking along the south boundary, access off of Alomar Way, and there is a property line on the left. The red dashed line is actually a property line. So this area to the west is owned by the applicant, but is not part of this development. The proposed development will take place within that red dashed area.
Liz,
Yeah.
excuse me. Garrett just texted me, he can't get through, there's no audio on Zoom.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's what I
I
was
was
trying
trying to do. Let's see if we can.
Ooh, that's a good one.
to. In order to do the hybrid, to hear it, you need to be on the access,
On the what?
on access, so that you can hear it.
Oh, so he can listen to it on Access, Ted?
Listen to it on Access.
Access Humboldt,
Okay.
which is on YouTube.
I messaged him, I'm not sure if he got it. But when he calls in, we'll be able to hear him. Or he can join since he's the applicant, he can join with the video.
Shall I continue?
Yeah, go ahead, Liz.
So this is the site plan, and you can see the developed area that I called out. The developed area in the upper right, that's the northeast, and then the yellow shows the proposed warehouse. At the bottom, or I'll point out, the new line of development is basically on, that border. So the existing parking extends to the edge of that building. So part of the new development will include infrastructure to serve the building, as far as water and sewer and utilities. And then they will pave new parking on the south side. The new building within that footprint development will include a new pedestrian or an additional pedestrian walkway, an accessible route of travel to the existing development. All of the landscaping that you see on the perimeter and within the developed area itself will all be new. The Freeway Commercial Code does require actually landscaping within the setbacks. So part of the design review consideration is landscaping, and a landscaping plan has been submitted, which is one of the, it's actually this slide, and I'll go over that momentarily. I'll just review the building itself briefly. So it is a 75 by 75 foot building, and that is 5,625 square feet. And then the additional project components include the driveway and landscaping that I pointed out, also fencing around the back of the area. So truck access can enter, will be entering off of the driveway. And then this area that'll be serving the warehouse will be fenced off there's an entry point in this hashed area, and then another entry point in the upper left. And then this area will be paved back here, and you'll see that there are a couple of bay doors for the trucks to enter or to serve the warehouse and for deliveries and things of that nature. So the overall developed area, the new developed area will be 20,000 square feet, and that includes everything that I just called out. And this is just a close-up of that footprint, storage and distribution, packaging and processing. I don't think there's anything else new on this slide. So these are the elevations. You can see the bay doors that are on the west facing. The west facing wall, because it's facing the Eel River, it does have some extra ornamentation, including a sort of a mural area over here with, this is kind of their logo, the gold trees, and then a little logo or statement, America's first certified organic brewery, and then a new sign. So all of these contribute to, one of the things on metal buildings that we look at is breaking up the mass. And so the colors, the green, the exterior walls and the gray bay door, and then with the decorative mural and the sign, kind of geared towards the river, kind of contribute to that, visual interest. That mural wraps around onto the, that is the south-facing wall, so it's kind of nice that it wraps around, and that's the driveway area that'll, where that will be visible from. Actually, this is the south-facing. And that wall is further broken up with these nice windows. There's 3 sets of 3, and these also have awnings over the top window. Actually, I think they're over the middle one. And then the visual renderings are really nice. You can see again in more detail how those design elements, will really function. So I think this is much more demonstrative than those flat elevations, but you can see the mural wrapping around, and then the sets of 3 windows, and then those awnings. I guess they're lattice awnings with these metal hangers. And then you can, seeing the landscaping integrated into that, and parking lot trees, I think really gives you a better view. The sidewalk to the front, it's got landscaping along it, and then you've got the landscaping on the perimeter. So I'm going to go over the design since that's the first item. So you have been provided with the site plan, the elevations and coloring, the landscaping plan, the lighting fixtures are these shielded LED lights. So the lighting will be projected downward. That's a requirement of the Fortuna general plan, and to prevent lighting from going into the night sky and onto the adjoining properties. The landscaping, I'm going to scoot back to the landscaping plan. And so it's a complete landscaping plan. It shows the types of plants that are proposed, and then a list of the trees and the shrubs and the ground cover, and then the planting kind of directions. So, there's a variety of trees, and I think these are really geared towards native plants, which I think is really nice. It's, near the river, where there's wildlife, and so I think that's a really nice feature to have native plants. So the trees will include big leaf maple, Sitka spruce, shore pine, coast redwood, wax myrtle, and a range of shrubs, including currant, willow, blueberry, huckleberry, kitey brush, silk tassel, salal, rosemary, rushes, and fern. Ground cover of poppy, clover, red fescue, coastal strawberry. So I think actually those are all native. And then the ground cover will be a combination of mulch and river rock. Let's see, I've gone over the building elevations, lighting fixtures. I did want to note on page 33, there was a extra comment that doesn't belong, and that's the trash enclosure. It's called out as split face CMU, and there's already an existing trash enclosure. So this was an erroneous inclusion, so I want to delete that, or just for the record. It's not in the resolution, so you don't have to worry about the motion. The trash enclosure is in behind the existing building, so it's in the space between the warehouse and the existing building, and it's not visible. There's no design proposal for that. And I do have some truck movement patterns that demonstrate that trucks and trash trucks will be able to maneuver to serve that area. So going back to the design, the renderings. So, basically, it's a metal building. Their existing building, the restaurant is a metal building. It does have architectural features that this building is compatible with, so it's a consistent design. I think the metal building kind of really fits in with the Mill District area. Kind of speaks to the mill history of that area. It is on, that whole area was a mill until I think maybe through the 80s or up to the 80s. It does have, a sloped roof. And then, they did include these design features. We generally look towards breaking up the large mass of the walls. And so they do have the windows and the awnings and the mural and the signage. So, overall, it's kind of incorporates those elements that break it up and kind of blend in with the existing design. And the landscaping in the parking lot is attractive. And, this, like basically, this art component of the building kind of adds some visual interest. So let's see, going back to the use permit. So these are the truck maneuvering study that was done by the applicant's architect. And, just to demonstrate that the size of the driving aisle will handle the curves of the, the trucks that it's being served. They'll, towards the back, through the parking lot, and through this gated area. And we've got 5 different ones, can wrap around into the adjoining area when needed. It's got maneuvering to pull in and then back into the warehouse itself. And then, if needed, the second approach to either for deliveries and pickups or to access the trash enclosure. And then it can back into to the rear of that building as well. So let's see, general plan and zoning, we've gone over those. For environmental review, the California Environmental Quality Act does have an exemption for accessory buildings that do not exceed 10,000 square feet in floor area. This is not an increased use, it's serving the existing facility, so the resolution does include adopting that CEQA exemption. And then, so for the recommendation, I've included both of the design review as motion number 1. The zoning code does require design review to precede a use permit, so that's why we've stacked it that way. And then motion number 2 is for the conditional use permit. So the applicant is here to answer any questions as well, and with that, I'll turn it back to the commission for questions.
Anybody have any questions or comments for Liz or the petitioner?
I have a question. How does the warehouse support and integrate into the business operations of the restaurant, bar, and beer garden?
Excuse me.
What do you call the comment?
Yeah. When you come up, please address with your name and address, okay?
Ted Vivinson, 830 Holman Way, Fortuna. What it does is interject. We've had a very small footprint for over 28 years. And I want to thank all you guys for your community work and everything else. Anyway, we've been in a very small footprint and for 28 years. And we're right now trying to transfer and get over from Scotia to Fortuna to bring all of our stuff over. And that's going to take a while. In order to do that, we've got to start somewhere. So this building's the first start of being able to move some of those things. We want to also be able to expand the restaurant down the road in another phase. So this is just the first phase of being able to have a place to store things, put things, work out of, while we make this transition.
Is the lot, if I can do a follow-up, is that okay? Is the lot just west of where this warehouse will be placed? Is that part of the long-term plan for that?
It's my property. I own that.
Okay.
That parcel. And, yeah, I would like to see that. Right now, that's not part of the issue. It will be, hopefully, down in the years to come. We plan on really, Fortuna is where we're born. We're the country's first certified organic brewery. And we're making a strong case to keep it here. So that's what we're going with.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I just got to tell you, I don't get to travel a whole bunch, but when I do, I see your label, and it makes me proud to be here. It say, I look up and people are ordering your beer, and I go, hey, I know that guy. I know. That's from where we live, and people start asking about it, so.
I appreciate that, Chris.
Absolutely.
I remember being in front of the planning commission years ago. This is, Mr. Lewis was the mayor at the time. So going way back, and he asked, well, what are you gonna bring to the community? I said, well, I'm gonna put a map to Fortuna on 40,000 products a week. And that's it. If you look in the bottom of a six-pack of any of our beers, you're gonna see a map of the city of Fortuna. And we hope to keep bringing them here. So that's what we're doing.
About how many employees does your company, Ill River Brewing, support and
We're
employ?
kind of seasonal, so as the tourists come in, which is a big deal for us, that's part of this project. We want to make sure that, it's something that tourists are going to enjoy and as we grow. But we have probably in the summer over 50, and then as we come into the holiday winter months, it goes down to about 40. So we're trying to make it more than that. So. And a lot of our jobs are not just service. There are a lot of people that we're going to be moving up from Scotia. As the time goes on, those are well-paid jobs. So,
Well, we appreciate you being a part of the footprint here in Fortuna. It means a lot to us.
it means a lot to me. I sure appreciate you guys. Thank you. Any other questions?
No, I guess not.
Okay, do we have anybody?
So I guess I need a motion to bring it back to the table.
Motion to close public comment if we don't have anybody online.
Wait, before we do, wasn't that the one person trying to call in that you were talking about?
Garrett, that's our architect. So I think he was more on the line of if there was questions or anything came up, he wanted to be able to answer them, but he couldn't hear. But I think he reads lips pretty good.
I think you can read body language. I don't think there's too many issues
Sounds
up
good.
here. So,
Did you want to give a minute for anyone else from the public?
yeah, I think
to
I
call in?
would, just in case there's a call in.
I'll add a couple of things. The Fortuna Fire District did review this project, and they were in agreement with the access and things under their purview. They will have the opportunity to review the building permit for, final water size and things like that. And that's a condition of approval, and they will be signing off on the permit.
Okay.
Do we anticipate any problems with PG&E getting electricity to the warehouse?
Will that be served by the existing panel, or?
We're looking at that right
Yeah.
now. We own that panel, that transformer. We got a meeting set up with PG&E, so.
Yeah, the city manager has been meeting with PG&E and, the local and state decision makers. We did provide them with a list of all of the potential, short-term and long-term projects in the city that would be needing electricity. They were interested in the imminent projects, and the brewery warehouse is on that list of, critical projects that may need service.
Like I said, it's a question I didn't think to ask. I'm just curious is when do you think you're going to start? Sooner than later?
Soon, very soon, as soon as we get our permits in place.
Great. If there's no other questions, I'll entertain that motion now.
Motion to close public comment.
Second.
Katie?
All in favor?
Aye. So we brought it back to the table here, folks. I guess I'll entertain, we're going to have to probably do two motions.
You do them one at a time?
Yes, sir.
Is the first recommendation on page 35, is that our first one in the packet? Correct? Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion, and I do, to adopt Resolution P-2022-3092, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Fortuna approving design review of an accessory warehouse for Eel River Brewery, including elevations, colors, lighting, and landscaping.
I love-
Second.
Sorry.
All right, roll call vote, Commissioner Blakely,
Yes.
Chairman Bradley,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Kine,
Yes.
Commissioner Mobley,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Stites.
Yes.
I would like to make a motion to approve, to adopt resolution number P-2022-3093, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Fortuna adopting a conditional use permit for an accessory warehouse for Eel River Brewery.
Second.
All right, roll call vote again, Commissioner Blakely,
Yes.
Chairman Bradley,
Yes.
Commissioner Howard,
Yes.
Commissioner Kine,
Yes.
Commissioner Mobley,
Yes.
and Vice Chair Stites.
Yes.
Good luck.
There you go.
Thank you.
Let's hope everything else goes as smoothly as this tonight, huh?
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Yeah, I know.
Liz, is there anything else on our agenda for staff communications?
There's nothing specifically. I would point out that we still have a planning commission vacancy, as well as the standby, the alternate, the standby commissioner. So through the city manager's office, that periodically gets noticed. They're responsible for notifying, or soliciting applicants for all of the various city boards and commissions. But if you do know of anybody who you think would be a good candidate, please encourage them to apply. The application should be online. It's also available on request, either by email or giving us a call. So we'd be happy to pass those on to the city manager, the city mayor and the city council. Recommend and approve that position.
Working
yeah.
on 2 for you.
Good, yeah.
Real quick, do you folks need these plans back for yours? Because I know they do cost money.
No.
Okay. Okay.
I have a question. Who all is going to the October 14th Planning Commission training in Arcata?
I am.
I am too. You are, Chris, did you say?
No, I said you were.
Okay. Anyone else? No?
No.
See you there.
Yes.
Great.
If there's nothing else on the agenda, I'll entertain one last motion for the night.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That was in unison.
There you go.